The J. Michael Show.
Welcome to today's show. Our guest is Amy Lyndon, the booking agent to the stars and an actress herself. Let's meet Amy. Hello, Amy.
Hi. I'm a celebrity booking coach to the stars.
Booking
So I'm
coach.
not an agent. I was a manager back in the day for 9 long years. Yeah, I put Adam Brody on the OC. I negotiated Brandon Baker's contract for Mowgli for Jungle Book. But that was back in the day. Those days are long gone. I have no desire to be a manager ever again.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see now. You're also an actress. You've been in NCIS, Law and Order L.A., Ugly Betty, JAG. You did a lot of soap operas. So tell me about your acting career and how you got started doing that.
Well, I've been acting since I'm 10 years old. I've always wanted to be an actress. Actually, I have 2 features coming out this year, and one I'm actually going to the screening on Friday. It just got picked up by Sky Showtime, which is amazing, and it was shot during COVID, and actually it was about a guy trying to get back from Madrid because of COVID, and I play his immigration lawyer, and as the movie goes on, I get drunker and drunker and more in disarray. And then at the end, I'm in AA, and it's really cute. But I'm going to the screening at the Mexican consulate on Friday, and I'm pretty much the only one speaking English. It's mostly in Spanish.
Oh, amazing. Okay. So have you ever had to learn a different language to be in something?
I've had to learn different dialects. Like I had to learn Cockney, Hungarian, British, German, Russision. Yeah, but not the language. I'm the only one speaking English in the movie.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
yeah. So they'll probably have Spanish subtitles on my speaking.
What you also, as you said, you're a coach, booking coach. And you use something called the Lyndon, I wrote it down
Technique.
Here. The Lyndon Technique. Tell me what the Lyndon Technique is and how do you apply it?
Well, the Lyndon Technique is a way of learning how to basically read better. It's for people that are having problems booking jobs. Acting jobs, and most of the reason is that they were never taught how to break down a script.
Right.
The Lyndon Technique teaches you how to break down the script from the writer's perspective and to work on your emotional instruments so the writer's word will funnel through you. And it also talks so much about genre and tone and style, and it helps with nerves and anything else that's bothering you that you can't get to the material. And so I created it, what is now almost 30 years ago.
And so are you teaching people to do an audition?
Yeah, I'm teaching people how to break down a script and book a job.
And get the audition right.
And get the what is now the self-tape right. I teach over 100 students a week. I have courses and books, and it's all over the world.
The audition process, has it changed over the years? Is it different now?
I think it's more competitive now. It's changed because of COVID, because most of the auditions are self-tapes now. So all my classes are on Zoom. My classes used to be in the theater.
Right.
And now all my classes are on Zoom, which I'm actually happy about because it's almost like an on-camera Lyndon Technique booking class where this screen right here is the same screen that you would use for a self-tape. So I work with my students on how they could use this screen to create the movement of the scene. Because film and television is what it is moving pictures.
Right. It
And
is.
so every frame, what are you doing in every single frame? And understanding the movement of story and how to use this space to create that.
Right, exactly. Okay. And then you've done all sorts of television series yourselves. I remember you from NCIS with that scene, and that was hilarious. And
It
it,
was hilarious. Yeah.
yeah, that was a
You know,
great
it's
scene.
that one scene when I'm out on the street, it was nerve-wracking. I mean, I don't think people understand how nerve-wracking acting can be.
Huh.
I mean, I'm on the street downtown, there's 100 extras, they have a crane shot, all the series regulars come up in two cars, they get out, they come and talk to me,
Mhm.
and you can't mess up because
Exactly.
then all the extras have to go back. The series regulars have to get back in their car. It's a lot.
Hmm.
To
It
be an actor takes an incredible amount of focus.
it sounds like it's very very complex. Have you ever had any bloopers or something funny happen on the set?
Well, something funny always happens on every single set. I think um, yeah, I remember I once did a play once, and
Hmm.
I used to do these crazy plays. I've been acting in the theater since I'm 10,
Hmm.
and so I did this once crazy play in San Diego, and the director, his name was Hillel Schwartz, and he used to do Tai Chi before every single rehearsal.
Hmm.
And the guy that was working with me, we had this cue, and he was stoned all the time.
Oh wow.
And so he missed his cue, and I was supposed to fly off the window because we were in a pulley system going through the theater, and then he pushed me off, and I was supposed to go through this little door on the bottom and come out in the third act as a new age reporter, okay?
Uh-huh.
But first it was a window washer. And he was stoned, so stoned this one day, and he pushed me off too soon. I couldn't find the trap door. I'm hitting the back and bottom of the stage and I'm screaming, oh no, oh no, oh no. What about if the lights go up and I'm hitting the bottom of the stage? And well, it turned out okay, but I mean, like crazy things happen. At least in film and television, they could call cut.
Uh-huh.
You do a play, there is no cut.
Exactly. Have you ever forgotten your lines while you're
Yes,
doing something? Tell me about
yes.
that.
Yes. Yes, I have. As a matter of fact, in NCIS, I was so freaked out in the middle of the scene, I forgot a word.
Hmm.
And the guest star was so nice to me. She said, just keep going, just keep going. Because, I mean, it's a long shot anyway. And when they come in for your close ups, you could fix it. So
Hmm.
I'm telling you, it's nerve wracking.
Well, working with actors, actresses, is that common? I mean, to me, I would think if I'm trying to be an actor, that's the first thing I would worry about is trying to remember my lines. So is that common among different actors and actresses?
Yeah, well, that's where the technique comes in. And you'd be surprised how many people in my doing my technique get off book very fast.
Hmm.
Because actually, I just wrote somebody about this. The guy, I get people write to me every single day
Hmm.
about problems that they have, booking. So
Hmm.
one guy wrote to me and he said that he was a veteran and he thinks he had a little bit of brain damage and he can't seem to memorize his lines.
Hmm.
I believe that everybody has problems memorizing their lines. It's the way that you study. So, in order to memorize a line, you have to make sure you're really clear on what the line is that's coming at you.
Hmm.
A lot of people just memorize it with no connection. If you're connected to what somebody just said, then 9 times out of 10, what you say back is going to make a lot of sense.
Right. Right.
So if you connect up with what's coming at you and understand it and sit on it and marinate on it rather than trying to memorize it,
Hmm.
if you understand it and you get it in your body, chances of you forgetting it is probably not.
Is there like some technique or gimmick that you can use to trigger and help remember your lines?
Well, that's what I'm saying to you. If you know what's coming at you, it
Hmm.
will trigger what you're going to say. But what a lot of actors do is when they get a script, they only study their own lines.
They don't know what everyone else is saying.
Exactly. So if you understand, I mean, look, in every scene, there's two different points of view, right? There's your point of view, and then there's the point of view of the person that you're talking to,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was the last fight that you were in, Jay?
The
Tell me about the
okay,
fight.
the last what now? Say it again.
The last fight that you were in, that you get in a fight with somebody.
An actual fist fight or an argument?
No, like a verbal argument, any
Okay.
kind of disagreement.
Probably a week ago, I guess.
Okay, what was the fight about?
Uh, Let me think now, because honestly, I don't remember. Arguing about doing things my way or doing things their way.
Well, see, those are two different points of view, but what was the subject matter?
Having to do with a documentary that I'm working on.
Okay, so the scenes, I'm going to do the Lyndon technique with your fight,
Okay.
okay? Because as actors, we're mirrors to real life, okay? So your fight was about the documentary,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Exactly.
How did they see things? The person that was on the other side, how did they see things?
Well, they kind of wanted a scene to go a certain way. I mean, showing just like some stock footage or whatever, and I wanted something more specific that targeted what the scene was about.
Okay, so did you stick to your point of view?
Yeah, I won
Okay,
the
there you
argument.
go. There you go. You stuck to your point of view. They stuck to their point of view.
Hmm.
And so the editor comes in, he cuts it together, and that's the conflict.
That's it. That's how it works together.
That's how it works. But during the fight, you were listening closely, right? To
Yeah,
what they were
exactly.
saying.
Yeah, because
You can
I'm
respond
disagreeing
back.
with it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So then why do actors pick up a script and only study their own lines? That's not real life.
exactly. You got to see both points of view. Hmm.
Yeah, well, because you want to beat this person, right?
Hmm.
So how are you going to beat them unless you know where they're coming from?
Exactly. And not only do you do acting, but you've been a director and a producer. And which of those three do you prefer?
Well, right now I have a screenplay, Odessa, that was based on my multi-award winning short, which starred Dr. King's daughter.
Hmm.
And I have it out at the film festivals. I'm very excited about it because it's a beautiful story and it's based on a true story. I really like writing. I love directing. I've directed a lot. I've won a lot of awards on the festival circuit directing. And I love directing comedy,
Hmm.
probably because I love comedy. I'm really good at comedy.
Hmm.
And actually, I have a table read tomorrow. One of my students, they always call me up, my students. They're always like, I wrote something for you, and it's perfect for me. So I'm going tomorrow. They're doing a pilot presentation,
Uh-huh.
and the character's perfect.
Yeah.
She's like she's a cross between Lee Remini and Jennifer Coolidge, which is perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. Do you also do you do auditions yourself for things
All
on
the time.
television all the
Yeah,
time? Tell
all
me
the
about
time.
how you audition.
It depends on the project.
Hmm.
Right now, I have a national mattress firm commercial running.
Hmm. Okay.
I look at everything. I mean, when I booked that commercial, I spent a lot of time looking at the storyboard, what the product was,
Hmm.
what the socioeconomic status of the character was.
Hmm.
So much of this come into play, especially if you're going to get a callback. Like at the callback, I saw people in like t-shirts and jeans when this was an upscale character driving an Escalade.
Right.
So I got my hair done and I looked really good and I looked really put together. And so I booked that job. So a
Cool.
lot of it has to do with understanding what the buyer is selling.
Right. So, like, if you're auditioning for you've played a hooker before. If you're auditioning for that, do you come to the audition dressed that way?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's part of it. That sells it.
Yeah, that's why when people ask me if I'm going out on Halloween, I just say Halloween is for posers because Halloween's every day for me.
Right, right.
So, yeah, I love putting together what it might look like.
Hmm.
But I mean, if you're playing a serial killer, you don't want to come in acting like a serial killer because they're gonna think that you're difficult to work with.
Right.
But you don't have to come in all chipper
Hmm.
because
Exactly.
you don't want them to like extend their imagination too much.
Have you ever had a role that you felt was very, very difficult to do because of who the character was?
Yeah, I was in a movie called B.T.K. I played Kane Hodder's wife.
Hmm.
And she was from the Midwest and she was married to him 38 years and never knew he was a serial killer.
Wow.
That was a stretch for me
Hmm.
because I'm from New York. After the first date, I'm going to know you're a serial killer. Okay. So I'm going to go, you're a serial killer. We are not going out again. So here's this woman that's like sleeping next to this guy for 38 years. So I had to get rid of my accent because I have a
Hmm.
little bit of a New York edge to the way I speak.
Little bit of accent, yeah.
Yeah, I had to change knowing anything about life
Hmm.
because this woman obviously lives in suburban Twinkie land, you know?
Yeah.
And I had to dumb her down a little bit. So when I found out that he was a serial killer and I was like crying like crazy, I really needed to sell that.
Hmm. Is it easy for you to do emotional scenes?
Yes,
And
yes, very
so
easy for
you
me.
psych yourself out for it?
Well, for me, it's really selling yourself the story and finding a trigger.
Hmm.
Like, when's the last time that you were sad?
Well, yeah, you call upon your own personal experiences to, and is that what you're thinking about when you're doing the scene? Is that thing that made
No,
you
no,
sad?
that's old. That's old school acting.
Hmm.
You can call upon it, but if you call upon it, then it pulls you out of the scene.
Right.
You need to find where the trigger is and where it lives for you.
Hmm.
So, I tell my students that they need to create an emotional journal so they need to figure out where all the triggers are in their body.
Hmm.
And so if you wanted to cry, you would need to find where crying begins for you.
Right. Exactly. You once said the actor must approach acting like an Olympic athlete. Tell me about that.
Well, anybody who's gotten anywhere in life has to understand the competitive spirit.
Hmm.
And a lot of actors are really more artists
Hmm.
and they don't understand the art of competition. So that's why booking is a separate beast.
Hmm.
It's understanding that to book a job, you have to compete to win,
Hmm.
and you have to want to be the best in your field. And if you look at gold, silver, and bronze, if you look at a skater, you've got three great skaters, right?
Hmm.
So one of them is going to get the gold. And so who's the gold? The one that's the most precise, the one that hit it harder, the one that landed harder, the
Hmm.
one that understood exactly what they were doing and competed to get the gold.
Do you also approach or teach fandom and being famous?
No,
No, you don't go that far. Or do you have famous people that
I have
you're
famous
coaching?
people that I work with.
Hmm.
I have people that I've made famous,
Hmm. That
but
you've
that's
helped.
because, but that's because they're brilliant.
Right.
That's because they worked hard. You know, I tell people all the time that you have to practice, you have to practice on people that don't matter. You have to work really hard and practice. But a lot of people won't practice.
Hmm.
They think just staying in class is enough. You have to get out there and fall on your face in front of people that don't matter. And it doesn't mean you have to take the job, but you have to learn how to book a job.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just stay in your cushy classroom. You have to be in front of people.
It's like learning to play the guitar. If you don't practice, you'll never be good at it.
Yeah, and then there's getting in front of people.
Mm-hmm. You have to do it in front of people.
Yeah.
Which is the difference between playing a guitar and being a singer-songwriter, someone out there.
Exactly. And then there's positioning yourself so people can really see your work. And sometimes you have to knock on a lot of doors in order to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people give up just when they're about to make it.
Right, exactly. So just asking a question, I mean, I know you do booking, but coaching, could you teach me how to be an actor?
Well, are you an emotional person?
I can be.
Okay, do you know where your feelings are?
Yes.
Are you a storyteller?
I tend to, like with this podcast, I tend to sit back and let the guests tell their stories. But yes, I can tell stories.
Well, do you tell jokes?
I can do that too.
Well, then you're a storyteller.
Well, that's it. Yeah, okay.
Do you have an imagination?
But you have to know how to
I'm
be
asking
that
you all the,
character.
I'm asking you all the pertinent questions.
Right. To get
Do
me.
you have an imagination?
Yes, I do have a vivid imagination.
Then you can be an actor.
Wow. Okay. But it would take a
If
lot
I
of training.
if I gave you a script, okay, and the guy, let's just say he's a cowboy and he owns a bar, okay, okay. Have you ever owned anything before?
I've owned my own companies. So yeah, I have.
Okay. So what's the difference between owning a bar and owning your companies?
Well, a bar would be a company, so I would assume
That's
that it's
correct.
the
It's
same thing. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Right.
So as long as you can take the story, understand the story, feel the story, and then relate it back to you and say, okay, this guy's a bar owner.
Mm-hmm.
Have I ever owned anything? Yes, I've been a boss. A detective is coming in to ask about one of my employees. Well, do I know the employee that he's talking about? What kind of person are they? Well, they're a drug addict. Well, have I ever had employed a drug addict or somebody that was a loser?
Right. And
Have
you
you?
have to play upon your own experiences.
Yeah, but have you? Have you ever?
No, I never have.
You've never hired somebody that wasn't qualified?
My companies that I've owned are always been me. They were owned by me, a production company or something, and so I never really had
Haven't
employees.
you? Well, you never hired a catering company or?
I've hired people to come in and maybe just do a scene or interacted with people who were going to be on camera, but did I hire
Right.
them? No.
Okay, so you never paid anybody to work for you ever?
No, I've always done it myself.
Wow. Do you know any incompetent people in your life?
Oh, I do. Yeah, there are some people that I would not call to be, involved in a documentary
Right.
because I
Well,
know I
then
can't rely on them.
there you go. Then that would be the guy that they're asking you about.
Right. Yeah, everything that I've owned up to this point, I was a DJ in radio. You interact with a lot of people there. But my documentary film company, this podcast, things like that, it's a one-man show. I wear all the hats.
Well, but you see that there's one technique that's limited by your own experience. You just told me that you never hired anybody. So what if the guy's talking about his employee? You wouldn't be able to do the scene. But
Right.
in my technique, I'm asking you, do you know incompetent people? And you can name a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the guy that works for you in the scene that the detectives are asking you about. That's the guideline. Who or what am I relating to? A quarter of my series regulars have no other training other than my technique.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Seriously, they got a series regular only from learning the Lyndon technique.
Wow, that's amazing. And that means that you put a lot into what you teach.
I just go through the 15 guidelines and make sure that they're doing them correctly. I just gave you 3 guidelines,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Exactly. Yeah, you're doing good right now. You're acting
Yes,
right now. You're being you. And is that something that you enjoy doing, interviews and such?
I love doing interviews. I've done so many of them. Like if you Google me, I'm all over the place. But
Yeah.
I love interviews. I want to talk about my clothing company.
Oh, I would love to hear about this. Tell me about your clothing company. In my research of you, I didn't come across a clothing company. So tell me about it.
I own the trademark I Am Enough.
Uh-huh.
And I have a clothing company called I Am Enough Collection. And it's an inspirational line to remind you that you are perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And I, during COVID in 2019 is when I launched it because Printful and Shopify have drop shipping. And so it's just been great. I design stuff, I put it on there. There's t-shirts, hats. And if you use the code for your listeners, if you use the code enough20,
Enough
you get
20.
20% off of everything.
Perfect. Okay, so you guys out there, enough 20, and we're going to have a link to her store under this show, so you'll be able to go and get something there. I am enough. I like
I
that.
am enough
Uh-huh.
collections.com. I am
So
enough collections.com.
and so it's like what, hats, shirts, things like that.
Hats, shirts, hoodies, tanks, pillows, mugs, all kinds of stuff.
So this is one of those companies where you design it electronically, you upload it to it, they make all the product and send it out.
Yes.
Okay, great, great, great. I need to start thinking about something like that for this podcast. I need some merch. People tell me you got to have some swag, So that would be a good thing for me to do too.
Well, yeah, you just look into Printful. It's called printful.com.
Uh-huh. Okay. And then if someone wanted to like get an autograph or a cameo or something, where would they go? Do you have a website?
Yeah, well, they can email us at the Lyndon Technique. It's the Lyndon Technique at gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
You can hit me up on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Like follow me on Instagram at Amy Lyndon and just DM me.
Yeah, perfect. And they get it directly from you, and then you can autograph it for them.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, now, just to ask, because I had a limited amount of time to do some research on you, is there anything else that you've done you want to talk about? I want to talk about it. Think about it for a moment. You're laughing.
You're like, do, 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 do,
Yeah, like, dun, 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 dun. Yeah, let's do the Jeopardy theme together. Do you sing? Do you dance?
Yes, I do all that. As a matter of fact, one of my first jobs was on Mr. Belvedere, and I had to sing and dance. And Dupars. Remember Dupars?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been to Dupars?
No.
They had these people there. They had this costume, which was like we talked about costumes earlier,
Mm-hmm.
this waitress costume with this cute hat. And I borrowed it for the audition, and it was my first sitcom audition.
Uh-huh.
I was so excited. And I booked it. And guess what? The wardrobe was the same outfit, but in pink.
Wow. Talk about nailing it. You nailed that one. You've also done soap operas. Let's talk about your doing soap operas.
You know what's interesting about soap operas is you only get one take.
Yeah.
So there's no take from different angles. It's four cameras. Actually, Crystal Khalil, who won an Emmy, she's one of my students. I coached her to be on Young and the Restless. She's been on the show for like 12 years. I mean, like a long time. And when she got on the show, she called me. She said, "Thank you for the Lyndon technique because, the Lyndon technique you create it within yourself. You create this world in yourself, and so is a soap opera.
Mm-hmm.
There's no rehearsal.
Exactly.
They don't rehearse with their partner."
Mm-hmm.
And it's on one take. So she was used to jumping and hitting it on the first take without rehearsal.
And is that more difficult to do when you can't have a blooper? You can't. So you have to get it right off.
It's very difficult.
Mhm.
People don't give soap people enough credit.
Right.
They're doing 30, 40 pages a day, so don't judge them, you know.
Uh-huh.
But you have to be like a great actor for the audition to get a contract role. I
Exactly.
mean, yeah, I mean, contract role is a 3-year role on a soap opera. They actually give you, I think, like the day before, a brand new script because they're not sure whether or not you're going to be able to do all those pages in a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put you through a screen test, like a real screen test, doing hair and makeup, the whole thing. And they have you shoot it with the person already on the show.
And of course this gets you ready for having a long-term contract with it where your script is changing literally every day. How long does a soap opera shoot and then they play those, or is it
Well, it's
continuous?
interesting. I had 10 pages and I was on a couple of episodes. Like my first job was my first job was on General Hospital. I played Mrs. Talbot's maid.
Mm-hmm.
And I recurred for 4 months. So every time Mrs. Talbot went on, I was on. I was her maid.
Mm.
um, but in terms of the way that they do things, it's like 30 pages.
Wow.
I was in at 6:30 in the morning for hair and makeup, and I was out by 9:30 a.m. on
Wow.
10 pages.
Wow. And they run soap operas, they run continuously year round, so is there a break for them?
No, no hiatus.
No hiatus at
They
all.
are literally in your house 5 days a week, which is what I talk to my students when they have a big soap audition. I say to them, you're in people's houses 5 days a week. You have to make your problems worse than the people watching at home, because that's why they watch.
Mm-hmm. Because
I
it's
say, make that person in the Midwest put down their iron. So you're so soapy and you're so in it and you're so committed that we want to follow you every single day for 5 days a week.
Yeah, I don't know that I could do that. I mean, I think it would be difficult for me to just do a scene on a cop show or something. Doing it continuously, you really have to be committed to your craft, right?
Well, you have to love it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and do you love it?
Yes, I love it. But I love teaching. I love acting. I love writing. I love directing. I love anything that is about working with people.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever directed a feature film?
No, I
Well,
want to have directed comedy pilots. I've directed dramatic pilots. I've directed tons of shorts.
mm-hmm.
Um, I've directed people's demo reels, but I've never directed a feature.
And is this a goal of yours?
It's not a diehard goal of mine. A goal of mine would be to be on a very interesting TV series.
Mm-hmm. And what would be interesting to you?
Well, um, anything that has some humor.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wouldn't mind something on Netflix or Hulu. You know, like I love the show Hacks,
Mm-hmm.
Minx,
Okay.
The Bear. All those kind of very real shows that you don't go for the comedy. It's all about the behavior.
Right.
And that's what people find humorous is because of the person. So they put two completely different people together. And the interaction with these people, with the situation, is what makes it funny.
And do you prefer comedy over drama because of that?
Well, if I'm going to be on a TV show, I would love to be on a show like that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you know, because
As
then
an
it
act,
has some drama in it. So
mhm.
it's drama and comedy. It's dramedy, really.
So as an actor, are you allowed to ad lib, or do you have to follow exactly what's on the script?
It's a good question, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a network sitcom, do not add anything.
Mm.
and they want it word perfect.
Hmm.
But when it comes to a feature film, they're looking to hire the character. They're looking to hire the person. They're looking for somebody interesting that will fill the screen. They want to see you thinking.
Hmm.
In let's say streaming television, it's almost like a feature film. There's a lot more room
Hmm.
to improvise,
Hmm.
to not worry about dialogue. But in network television, it's all about the dialogue.
Yeah, and if you're that character and you're in front of the camera and you do ad lib, and let's say you curse or something like that, are they gonna no, 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 can't have that, or how does that work?
Well, if it's network television, they'll stop and start over.
Yeah, they don't
It's
just
very
bleep it.
strict. It's just very strict network television.
Hmm.
ABC, CBS, NBC, all of those network shows are very strict. Look, I did NYPD Blue. I was crying. I had this guest star. I was sobbing because the neighbor that I cared about was dead. And the scene was with Dennis Franz and some other guy with three names. And I am crying. And then they yell cut. And then the script supervisor comes over and says, "You said the instead of," or something like that.
Oh
It was
goodness.
something stupid.
Yeah,
They shot it again.
you had to cry again.
Yeah.
You had
I
to
did
go.
it perfect. Now, if it was film, they would say, "Check the gate. Let's move on." That was great.
Uh huh. Yeah. So when you are acting like that and you get that enthralled into the character, have you ever just kind of lost it? You became that character.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. I remember I played a heroin addict in Dating in the Deep Blue Sea. I was a real addict with this guy. And I gotta say, and it was a highly dysfunctional relationship.
Mm.
It was hard to snap out of that. And you have to live that in
Right.
order to be that. And then I had to do it every week for like 4 weeks.
Right.
It
And
was, it's hard doing theater.
you're on the set
Very
there. You
hard.
go home, and now you got to get out of the character. You come back to
Yeah,
work the next day. Now you're back into the character. It seems like that would be difficult, right?
it's very difficult. That's why film to me is my perfect medium. If I
Hmm.
could just do film, I do a lot of film work, a lot of film work. And I'll just, I don't care if I mean, I hate to say this, I don't care if I'm paid or not paid, but I just love it so much
Hmm.
that even when I'm paid, I'll be driving home from set going, do, 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 do. I can't believe they just paid me.
Wow. Have you ever done anything pro bono where you weren't paid?
Always.
Yes, like.
A ton of movies.
Uh huh. You weren't
Like I
paid
have
at
a
all.
movie coming out. I have a movie coming out called Lady Parts. I thought it was a small role,
Mhm.
and then I got the script, and it was 94 scenes. I was like, "Oh my God!" I shot it a year and a half ago, and it just won its first festival. It
Hmm.
won the Orlando International Film Festival jury prize for Best Feature, and it also won for Best Screenplay. So it won its first festival. So I'm excited. I haven't seen it yet,
Wow. Have
but
you
I'm gonna pay
person
for that.
have you personally won any awards?
A ton of awards.
Oh,
Yeah.
tell me about those. I got to hear this.
Well, when I made Odessa, I won a ton of awards, and then I made a documentary starring my grandmother,
Mm.
and that won Best Short Documentary at the Studio City Film Festival. But Odessa won like Chicago International. It won a ton of film festivals. I won Best Actress at the Tiffany Theater for Last of the Red Hot Lovers.
Hmm.
I won a drama award for a feature that I did a couple years ago. Like I like winning awards. I have them all on my mantle.
Uh huh. And a whole bunch of them.
I like tchotchkes, I mean, I think it's good that you guys, if you've ever won anything, keep it around you, even if it's a bowling award.
Right. What was Odessa about?
It originally starred Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Shakespeare's eldest daughter, Yolanda King, the late Yolanda King. And it's set in the late 60s in New York. And it's a redemption story, a forgiveness story. Would love a Christian production company to reach out to me to look at it. Um, and the feature film was inspired by the multi-award winning short. And it's this poor woman, she's like broken in the first act. In the second act, she goes to Westchester as a nanny job, and this family takes her in, and they teach each other forgiveness and love, and in the third act is a courtroom drama, and the family in the second act helps get her son out of prison for a crime he never committed. So it's a beautiful story across racial lines.
And where's it available to watch now?
Well, the short is available. It's on YouTube. You could just Google it. But the screenplay, if you're interested in getting the feature made, just contact me.
Most actors and actresses are usually into something like meditation or yoga. Do you do that?
I do all of it.
Okay, now
But
we're getting
sometimes
into
my
you.
meditation, do you know what? Sometimes my meditation is Gordon Ramsay cooking show. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Or or Chopped. I love watching cooking shows right before I teach because for some reason it's very relaxing. But I do yoga, and I'm very upset that they're getting rid of this one yoga, the Nike workout collection on Netflix. It's last month, so now I have to go on YouTube and find more yoga. But I do meditation.
Okay, tell me about
I
your
just did
meditation
meditation today
technique.
in the bathtub. I did meditation.
Okay, tell me about your meditation technique. What things do you visualize? What do you work with?
I need a guided meditation. There was a great woman. She's got a weird name. Her name is Belle Ruth Napperstack.
Mm-hmm.
When I was my aunt used to live in Woodstock, New York, and so when I used to visit her, they had this store, and I saw this tape. It was a tape at the time by Belle Ruth Napperstack, a guided meditation for stress. And then she does all guided meditations. So if you look her up on Spotify, or she's amazing. And then there's this really great app called Insight.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Insight Timer. I think it's called Insight Timer. And there's meditation on there too. I need guided meditation.
Right. I play the Native American style flute, and I've done guided meditations with tongue drums and things like that. And there is a kind of a precise way that you need to do it. Is there particular types that you like more than others?
No, but do you sell a guided meditation?
I do not. I've never recorded any of it. I just do it live with people. But I need to look into that.
Like a sound bath, like people are
I have
around.
done, where they have the gongs and they play the gongs, and then I come in and I play the flute, and then they go back to the gongs, and everyone's
God, that's
laying
so
kind of
cool.
like asleep. They're not asleep, but they're just laying in and around the gongs, and we've done that, and it's that, and also like I have a tongue drum, and I can play that, chimes, things, but when doing something like that, you're taking that person deeper and deeper and deeper into this meditative state. And when you're in that meditative state, tell me what you're experiencing.
I'm telling you, I can't do it just by myself. I literally need somebody to say, and your neck is getting softer. Drop your head down, put your hand on your belly, and breathe in, breathe out. I need somebody to do that for me.
And do you prefer a female voice or a male voice?
I don't care.
It doesn't matter.
Just tell me what to do. And I do all different ones too. I don't do the same one all the time.
Yeah. Do you have several of these that you use at home when you're playing a recording like that? You just go into a meditative state?
Yeah, I have a garage that I made into a studio. I have my voiceover booth in there, and I do a lot of Um, and it's got bamboo wood floors, so I lay on the floor and I put on the meditation and yeah,
And candles and
every
everything, right?
day.
Yeah,
No,
all the candles and stuff.
I don't even
Okay.
bother with the candles.
Well, do you have any
Lay on the
particular?
floor.
Yeah, yeah. No. Do you have any, shall we say, a particular belief system that you incorporate into this?
I just love God. God is my jam.
Uh huh. And
Source,
the source, yeah,
the
the
source,
energy, the creator.
the creator. You're there.
Okay.
Always with me. You talk to God?
Absolutely. God talks to me too.
God talks to you. What does God usually say to you?
Well, usually it comes in the form of like a nudge to move. If you're about to go left and do something, and you'll get this kind of, no, you need to go right. And so then I'll follow that, and things end up rosy. And I've actually, on occasion, actually heard words in my ear, and usually it's one or two words, but it's a specific "do this."
I love that. I love that you're open to receiving
Yes.
because I think people get hints all the time. They just are not open to receiving.
Hmm. People talk to
Just
God all the time, but they never listen.
right. And the worst thing is that don't only talk to God when you're down on your luck and you need something.
Right.
Be grateful every day. Wake up and go, I'm really grateful today. Like I looked at my dog this morning. I said, Tanner, I'm really grateful for you, you know? I mean,
Uh-huh.
and I think it's really important to be grateful every day.
Yeah, we have to be thankful for what we have. And remember that, like, 10 years ago, you were begging for what you got now, and now you have it. So you need to be grateful. You need to be thankful for that.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Are your listeners believers?
I would assume that they are. I don't know that for sure. I used to have a TV show on YouTube called Conundrums, and I interviewed only UFO researchers, investigators, things like that, and we were always talking about that subject. So I built up kind of an audience with that. Now my show is about musicians, authors, actors, and just interesting people. So I probably will have a ufologist on here at some point. But
Oh,
yeah, I
they're
mean,
called
I would think
ufologists.
so.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
I speak at conferences also on ufology.
Wow. They say that there's a landing in Malibu somewhere. Do you believe that?
There's also supposed to be a base off the coast of Malibu that they say a lot of people see these UAPs, UFOs fly into the water, come out of the water, and they suspect there's a base there. There is a shelf under the water, and not sure what's going in or coming out.
There's a shelf under the water.
Yeah, it's a like a ridge. It's like the water as the land recedes into the water. There is a like chef, and it drops off very quickly, and they suspect that there might be something in there.
Wow.
How close to Malibu are you?
I'm not,
Oh, you're not. Okay.
I'm fascinated by extraterrestrial beings. I'm fascinated by them, and that's how I knew that there was a base in Malibu.
A base in Malibu. There's also supposed to be one in. Oh, now I can't. I've just lost the name of it. It's a mountain range, Delsey, or something like that, up around California. But you may know
Yeah.
more about that since you're there.
No.
Dulce base. Yeah, there's lots of theories. There's a lot of
Aqua
things
Dulce, Agua Dulce.
that might be it. Yeah, I've read about it. There's a lot of interest in that now because of television shows and podcasts and things like that. So a lot of people are interested in that, and I'll probably take this show in that direction also at some point.
Well, it's just interesting. So,
Yes.
do you believe that there is somebody that I know that claims that they were taken and then brought back? Do you believe that?
Yes, I was very close friends with Calvin Parker, and in 1973, he and Charles Hickson were abducted by a UFO in Pascagoula, Mississippi. I knew Charles and I knew Calvin. I did a documentary on that called Alien Contact, the Pascagoula Incident. I covered
Really?
all of that, yes. And so, yeah, when people tell me that they think that they've been taken, I tend to believe them. I mean, unless I have some reason to think, no, they're fabricating it. But most of the time, yeah, I believe them.
What was it about what either one of them said that was a convincing argument?
What do you mean by a convincing? That it was real. Well, they had
Yeah.
physical, burns and things also, and the area that it was at, you could tell there was something there. Though, also one thing, and this was not covered so much in the documentary, but I found out from Calvin that when the UFO came in, it blew out the windows to his car, and he had receipts and showed where he had to go have the windows replaced in that car. So when it settled in, the windows on his car blew out. That was in '73, of course.
He was by himself.
No, he was with Charles Hickson, and they were
Okay,
fishing.
so
They
they
were
were
fishing.
together. They
Yeah,
took both of them.
yeah. It took both of them. They even went to Keesler Air Force Base. This is interesting. They were put in a room right after it happened. The sheriffs put them in a room together and did not tell them that they had a recorder going. And they walked out of the room, and they figured that, what would happen is they would turn to each other and go, hey, we've got these guys fooled. They really believe it. But the way that they talked was, I mean, they were on their knees praying. They were terrified. They were talking about trying to, go get something to settle their nerves. And so the sheriff was convinced it actually did happen to them.
Well, there's a lot of people that it happened to.
Yeah.
You know, there's
No,
a
I
lot
agree
of.
with that. I think a
I
lot
mean,
of
I'd
people
be up
do.
there going, hi, are there any nail salons? I really have to get something with my hair today, and they would just cut me back off. They'd be like, can you take this little princess home because she's going to do nothing for us today.
Have you ever seen a UFO?
No, just on
Never.
TV. Just on TV when they would point it out on TV, but no.
Wow. Okay. Well, maybe one day you'll see one. Who knows?
Well, I'm open to it. I mean, we're selfish to think that it's just us around here.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Amy, it has been so much fun talking to you, getting to know you. I'm so glad that you agreed to do an interview with me. And again, tell me if someone wants to see more, learn more about you, what's your website?
Okay, well, first off, you would, if you want to get into class,
Mm-hmm.
you would go to thelindentechnique.com and sign up for the intensive
Mm-hmm.
because everybody needs to go through the intensive, everybody. And then you'll end up in the master class at some point. And then there's courses. If you DM me and say, "Hey, I saw your cute face on the J. Michael show," and then I'll give you a discount code so you can study a course in the Linden
Mm-hmm.
technique at home
Nice.
at your leisure, just for yourself. And then Jay's going to put enough 20, and that's the I am enough collection.com. You can go in and get 20% off of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can just hit me up on Instagram at Amy Lyndon.
Do you do Facebook?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's Amy Lyndon Levine.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Amy, for being my guest on the show.
That was
And
my
I
pleasure.
hope you have a wonderful week.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful speaking with you.
Thank you. That'll do it. We'll see you next time on The J. Michael Show.
Goodbye.